Hey, howdy, hey. Welcome back to Avilla Theory. I'm Nicole Avilla, and I'm here with my husband, CJ Avilla. Hi, friend.
Hi, friends. I say that every single episode.
You do, yeah. Anyway, what are you drinking today?
Oh, I'm having a White Claw because we're doing a late night episode.
Yeah, we're kind of down to the wire here. It's Sunday evening.
Yeah, we like to record a little bit ahead of time to give ourselves some buffer so we can edit, but
yeah,
last minute here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What flavor is it?
This one is raspberry.
And do you have a favorite?
I don't. No, I don't
you're
really
not
care.
picky.
Yeah.
You're such an easygoing guy.
Yeah.
Well, I am also drinking a White Claw, and I have black cherry, and that is my favorite.
Oh, it is? Mm-hmm. What is your least favorite?
The grapefruit one. Mm-hmm. I think it's the least sweet. That's probably why.
Okay. I tend to shy away from the orange ones, but if there's an orange one at the bottom,
yeah,
I'll have it for sure.
Yeah, that's all that's left.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about budgeting. Mm-hmm. We've kind of been going on, ever since we got together, really, we've been on this journey with finances, figuring out how to spend our money well and plan for the future. And CJ is very, very passionate about
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we all really like it, but you really love investing and just figuring out how to get the most for our dollar, which I really appreciate. And just as things change in our life, we kind of tweak how we've been doing things. And would you say we're at a pretty big transition, or we have been?
I think every time that we have a big life change, like some sort of big life transition, we always reevaluate how we're spending money and like our financial picture. Maybe intentionally or not intentionally, it just happens. Like someone gets a big raise, or someone gets a new job, or has no more job, or is starting, a side business or whatever. Like every time that kind of thing happens in our life, or a move or whatever, we usually kind of like recalibrate our spending and our lifestyle when that happens.
Yeah.
And so we are now going through a small transition where the boys are now in school full time.
Yeah.
Which has freed you up to have a little bit more time. And
I was fortunate enough to stay home with them almost completely full time for 6 years. Kind of just fell into it. That was never our original plan, but we ended up moving to another state and then moving back. And just with all of that, I got to stay home with them, which I didn't know I wanted to do. And it was not easy, but I really enjoyed it. I did get to do a couple of side hustles with doula work and placenta encapsulation and selling clothing from our house, which we ended up turning one of our bedrooms into an actual store. CJ built me these shelves that were hanging racks all over. Do you remember? I mean, there was one.
Yeah,
we're in that room right now.
Holes in the wall right now.
And then we cut a hole into the wall,
Yep.
so that people could just come into the shop,
Yep.
Without having to walk through our whole house. So anyway, there's just been a lot of little things that I've done throughout the years. But now that the kids are both in school full time, elementary school, it's like freedom. What do I want to do? And so now I kind of just get to explore, what is next? Do I want to do full time? Do I want to find something just while the kids are at school so I can still have that time with them before and after school? And so I think the best way to make that decision is to look at our finances and see what is comfortable for our family.
Yeah, that's part of it for sure. I think also because they're going to a new school, we have tuition to pay and they were we had daycare that was a different cost, and we had babysitters sometimes. So now that they're in a school full time, the cost of their cost center has changed a little bit, and also your income potential has changed a little bit. So so we have been doing some transitioning and reevaluation of our finances, and oftentimes that starts with the bare bones of budgeting. And it's I feel like that's kind of a bad word.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
It's so boring.
People are like, oh no,
Yeah.
I want to talk about that.
I think the way that you have been approaching it though, that seems exciting for you. I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Is that like it's a very fun, specific part of the budget that you are taking control of.
It kind of feels like a challenge to me, and I love challenges.
Yeah, it's like gamifying it, right? Like so we looked at the whole budget and we portioned out what our expenses are around, our primary home, our investment property, our like all the education expenses, tuition, piano, swimming, babysitters, around the kids. And then we also portioned out like car and automotive and travel. And then we had like a pretty big chunk left over that was like 15% or something of our budget that was going to who knows what, right?
It was disappearing.
Or maybe it was 20. It was like 20% or something like that.
It was
and so
a lot.
we like determined that a big chunk of that was groceries or just like miscellaneous spending, right?
The way that I saw it, I definitely miscellaneous spending, but the way that I saw it is what I can control the most is groceries and all of the things around the house, because I'm not working and my job is full-time taking care of the family. I'm in charge of making sure that there is food to put on the table and that things that we need around the house, toothpaste and cleaning supplies and all of that. Like that's all my job right now. And so I was like, okay, I want to figure out how we can cut down spending. Well, this is the thing I have the biggest impact on, so let's just do that right now. So that's why I chose it at the beginning of this month. And when we had this conversation, it happened to be like a couple of days before October. So we were like, let's come up with a goal and see how October goes.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this later, thank you for listening. That's so awesome that you've joined us.
Yes. So we're about 4 weeks into October, 4 weeks into this new goal.
Yeah. How are you tracking your spending?
Well, we have a few different ways. We use Mint, and
I mean, specifically for the grocery thing.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I mean, Mint would do the work for us.
Yep.
But it's just something about it. I don't really enjoy it as much as handwriting or typing in my phone each purchase. So I just open up Notepad on my iPhone and I wrote at the top what our goal was with the groceries next to it. And then every time I go to the grocery store or wherever that I'm going, because we didn't break it down into like really structured categories. Like our grocery budget stands for like all personal items as well as cleaning. Yeah,
it's like it includes shampoo and it includes
basically anything you would buy at Target.
And
aside from decorating.
Target, you can get anything at Target.
You can, but
just,
I mean,
that's the idea. It's
I've even included like clothing for the kids, like if somebody needed new undies, like that one under my grocery category as well. Costco, all of that. So every time I go to one of those stores, I then just immediately input it in my notes. I mean, this is not the way that you would do it, I don't think. Like, it's not really technology based, except for the fact that I'm using my iPhone to write these things down. But it's worked so well for me. And I also... actually, your sister gave me this idea. She was talking about how she's only allowed a certain amount of phone data each month. And so she will divide it in half and be like, okay, the first 2 weeks I can use about this much. And anyway, I was like, oh, I'm totally going to do that as well for the amount of money I can spend. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I was like, oh, okay, I can roughly spend about this much each week. And then I know, if I'm under or over what I need to do the next week. And that's worked out fantastic. Good. So we are totally on track. I think we might be a little bit under.
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good God. Oh, good God. You made it.
Shocking.
Imagine that.
So we had agreed that I would work on this. And at the end of the month, we talk about it and see okay, how'd it go? Because we didn't really even know. We tried to estimate how much that budget should be by looking at Mint and pulling up all of the grocery stores and everything. But it was very messy. So we kind of just pulled out a number.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we'll talk about it at the end. And then what we hope to do is decrease it by 5% every month until it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah. Do you, so you're on track. That's great. Do you feel like you could constrict it like 50%?
No. No, please don't make me do that. No, definitely not 50%.
Not 50%.
I mean, we have 4 mouths to feed.
We do. Yeah. I'm curious, like how much leeway do you think is there? Like, even though you've been kind of like
not
portioning
a lot.
it out? Not a lot.
Not
okay.
a lot. I would say 10%.
Okay.
Maybe 15%, but I think that we picked a pretty good number. We didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a good job.
We're not giving specific numbers. We're not sharing specific numbers. I guess we didn't talk about that before. Maybe we'll talk about that later, and we may or may not share specific numbers with you. But
yeah.
I think what might be helpful is what we could share is maybe the template that you're using, or like how you're taking notes. Maybe we could share that with people for like how they might want to, if they want to try this on their own. Mm-hmm. One thing that I wanted to share was our refrigerator spreadsheet. So in like one time, not during this transition, but during another financial transition, we used the refrigerator approach to try to just see where the money was going.
Right. So I have to say that has influenced me a lot this month, knowing that I have to write it down. Mm-hmm. So the refrigerator approach is basically just every single time we spent money, we had to write it down on the fridge.
Yeah, which is good because it, number one, it makes you really think, do I want to buy this pack of gum and then have to like go to the fridge and write it down? Uh-huh. And number two, it also gives you visibility into like what you're spending your money on. Like, where is this actually going? Are you spending all of your money on Starbucks? Yep. Are you spending all of your money on Disneyland trips?
Yeah, totally. But I've had that in my mind like the whole month. I find that maybe because it's become like a game, I'm like, I want to make that goal. I don't want to be over because I felt lazy one day and bought, when you're thinking about groceries, like a lot of the processed foods is the most expensive things at the grocery store. So if you can take a moment, and I happen to have that time right now, but there's this other program. Take a moment and meal plan. Just think about like, okay, Monday, I'll probably have this. Tuesday, I'll have this. Wednesday, I'll have this. Write out your grocery list. Take it to the grocery store. And I stick to that. Then I'm not spending as much money as where I go to the grocery store and I'm hungry and I haven't, what are we going to have? I don't know. Well, I'll grab some of this and I'll grab some of that. And maybe I'll grab a frozen pizza because who knows what's going to happen later this week. Yeah. And those things they don't seem expensive, but they add up faster than if I had just planned things out. I'm starting this new program.
Before you talk about your new program, think about it a little bit. But first I want to talk about how like there have definitely been seasons in our life and in our family where we decided every single night, we decided whether we were going to make our food at home or whether we were going to go out to eat. Right? Yeah. Is tonight a night where we're going out as a family, or is tonight a night where we have the energy to make food at home? And I feel like we have done a really good job in probably the last year, maybe even longer, where we have a pattern, which is one night per week or like one meal per week. We have agreed that that's going to be our go out as a family and eat meal.
Yeah. And that started with, we would eat at home during the week, and then it felt like we were eating out every meal on the weekend. And we were like, oh, this is too much, but we don't want to give it up. Yeah. So we were like, okay, let's try just one night a week we can eat out. Yeah. And we always end up saving that for the weekend because, I don't know, it feels special to us, I think. Yeah,
and I think our pattern of like one date night a week and so that's you and I going out, and then one night a week where we go out as a family, or one meal a week where we go out as a family. So that could be a breakfast on the weekend, or it could be, like we had such a long, tough week. Let's just order some food from some restaurant and pick it up and bring it home and have it at home.
And it's so nice knowing that that's just built in already. It's not spending too much, and it's also not like oh, this was such a rough week. We ate out 3 times this week. Now, I mean, eating out for a family of 4 is very expensive.
Yep.
And so that could totally blow our budget.
Yep.
But even like CJ came home tonight from an event and he's like, oh, I think my brother might come over next Saturday. And I was like, that sounds great. Can we use our going out budget for that night and like pick up something, bring it home? And so it was just like, I don't know, it felt easy to know like that's already planned. Let's just do it.
Yeah, it becomes part of your lifestyle where you're just doing that.
Yeah. Back to the new program I'm trying to use right now. I think it's called Cook Smarts. I'll link it in the notes in case that's not what it's called at all. But it's basically just like a meal program where they don't deliver you the food like some of the other programs, but they deliver recipes to your inbox each week. And it's supposed to help you save money and not have to think too much because the weekly meals are kind of themed in such a way that you'll use some of the same ingredients over and over. That way you're not wasting half a can of coconut milk because the recipe only needed half of it. Well, later in the week, the next recipe will use the other half of it. So it's supposed to help you save money and save time. So I just started it last week and I'm not using it super seriously. The first month is free, by the way. So that's how I'm able to do it. Otherwise, it's between like $6 and $9 a month, which I haven't decided if it's worth that yet. But anyway, the recipes, I've cooked 2 of them and they are so good. I made this chili tonight and I was like, oh, it's so delicious. So anyway, trying out things like that can also help with the grocery budgeting. Yeah,
the unexpected benefit too of eating at home more, I think it really helps save a ton of money that we would otherwise be spending for sure. But the other unexpected benefit is that I think it's way healthier.
Oh, totally.
Like when you eat out, you end up eating probably 2,000 plus calories, like easy. I mean, even if you go to like a really healthy restaurant, like the dishes are really big,
right?
And you end up having like some alcohol, and you have appetizer, and maybe you have some dessert, and you kind of go crazy.
Are just massive.
Yeah, portions in America are out of control. So calorically, it's better too.
So this month we've also been just really keeping an eye on mint closer than we usually do, or maybe we have done in the past but got away from it, and looking at like things that are coming in monthly that we've forgotten about. Maybe an old subscription or an old gym membership, or back to like swim lessons and piano lessons. We're really thinking about, do we really want to stick with those? They're expensive. Just, I don't know, I guess trying to take it all in and figure out what else can we cut out this month that'll help in the future. Because our goal really, I think right now for us, is to be able to pay off our houses as fast as possible. Yeah,
we're definitely, there's like 2 sides of the equation. There's increasing our income and decreasing our expenses, and then also looking at like, where are we at financially in the long-term vision of our family's financial independence, and like how well are we set up for retirement? How well are we set up for making sure that these rental properties are actually generating income? How well are we protected against risk of like job loss? Do we have our emergency funds in place? Are we, putting all of our retirement money to work in the right ways? I think maybe in a future episode we should go down the line and talk about like the different kind of like the flow chart of our decisions in terms of investing.
Yeah.
But for this episode, we really wanted to just focus on the one small slice of the budget that you have been working on, which is the grocery budget.
Yeah. And this may not be for everyone, but for me, I would highly recommend trying to have somebody keep you accountable. If I were doing this on my own, I may have slipped up, but knowing that like I have CJ to talk to and I've told friends, and I share things with them like, hey, I'm on track, or look at this deal I found, or whatever, like it really helps encourage me to continue on with it. So I definitely recommend that. And it's just changed the way that I've been thinking like all month long, even with other things. Like we went on a trip and I was like, we're not spending money on anything. Even like things that are, they're not that expensive, but they really add up really fast.
And this isn't like the goal, like the result of budgeting isn't so that your life is shittier. or like so that your lifestyle is constricted. It's supposed to be so that you can spend money on things that you're more excited about and more passionate about. And like, do you want to go on a cool trip to Bali? Do you want to like...
I mean, I can tell you, CJ knows this, but I am 100% quality of life type of person.
Yeah.
Like, I want to enjoy right now. So I can tell you, we're not eating beans and rice right now. Like, we are eating
everything
decent food.
Yeah. Organic.
So
gluten-free.
Dairy-free. Chicken only.
Yeah. Free range. It's all like all of those cliches are true in our household.
Yeah. So we're still living comfortably. It's just trying to figure out like, how can we get comfortable in a different way so that we can also maybe go to Bali someday or finally pay off our houses so you can retire early.
It's Ramit Sethi wrote that book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. He just came out with a version 2 that's updated for 2019, 2018, I think. Recently republished. I read that, and it's really good.
The young guy that you told me about?
He is, he's relatively young, lives in New York. I don't 100% agree with everything in the book, but it is a really good read. And his whole thing is, it's not, he actually like says the budget is a bad word and we shouldn't talk about that. But his thing is save money, like really, really carefully and strictly, and be very frugal in areas of your life that you don't care about. If you don't mind wearing ripped t-shirts and you work from home and whatever, then like it doesn't matter if you don't spend any money on clothes. Like even if your friends are, like, who cares? If you would instead rather spend your money on craft breweries, or if you would rather spend your money on gavels, or if you would rather spend your money on I don't know, piano lessons or something something, then you can go hardcore and get the best beer or the best gavels or the best like teacher. I do
really like that, because that kind of drives the point home that like what works for us isn't necessarily going to work for you.
Yep.
We just want to share what has been working for us because maybe it will work for you.
Yep.
And wouldn't that be awesome?
It would be. I think that like I always look at numbers like how much net worth should you have at your age? You would not believe the spreadsheets that he has put together. I am excited to share tons of spreadsheets with you. The refrigerator spreadsheet, we will save and send you a link to that, so you can just print it out and then you have something you can stick on the fridge if you want to try that approach. I think it'd be helpful if you save your template too for the notes you're taking. Well, I can tell you what it is right now. Open up Notes. All right, Notes. Write your budget at the top. Your budget? Or the number? Like your number at the top. Oh, your number. Okay. Write your number at the top. Yep. Just to remind you. And then I wrote week 1 and all the things I spent in week 1. Okay. And then week 2 and all the things. And then I added up every couple of 5 or 6 days just to make sure I'm on track. I like that. That's great. Thank you. We should share that. Can we share that? You can share a note like that? I mean, we can maybe screenshot or I don't know, like cool. Maybe like a sample. Sure, I could do that. Okay. So then, I mean, we want to help folks. Yeah. Get on board. So we've got the refrigerator spreadsheet we'll share. Oh, but we'll what I was going to say about the refrigerator is that I think that's a great idea. But you have to remember to do it. Like with me having mine on my phone, as soon as I walk out of a store, I write it down. Because being a mom, like, who knows what's going to happen by the time I get home. I'm going to have to sit down and be like, what did I do today? Oh, yeah, I went to this store. I better write that down. Yeah. So it's a little bit harder. It is. I think the nice thing about the refrigerator spreadsheet for a shared budget, like the one that you're working on, you completely own. That is you have ownership and accountability over that one part of the budget. Yeah. The refrigerator spreadsheet budget is Google Doc. Yeah, it's a Google Doc. No, I mean, you could use a shared Google Doc. You could. But the refrigerator spreadsheet, the intention was when you have a shared budget, which we were just trying to figure out, like, where's all of our expenses going for the month, put it on the fridge, and then everyone in the family or everyone who's contributing to that budget has to write the line item. So if you have roommates, or if you're just a young couple, you know what, if you've got a family, really like about the refrigerator budget, it's in your face. It is so in your face. Every time you open the fridge, you're thinking, oh man, I spent that $11 on that one mocha.
Oh my gosh. That new juice place opened over here.
Yeah.
Delicious. Highly recommend it. But the smallest juice is $8.
$8.
$8. And I don't even know if that's organic produce.
Did they juice it by hand? Are they like squeezing it?
No.
There's not like a really big, huge buff guy back there like squeezing it with this?
Maybe, but they have these really awesome lounge chairs and I just hung out over there. So
Nice.
I don't know. Highly recommend it. But
all right.
Anyway, things like that are expensive.
Yeah.
So was that good for budgeting? Because I have a question for you.
I think so. Sure.
Okay. What are you reading right now?
Oh, I am pretty, I think I'm pretty close. I'm like 3/4 of the way through the new Edward Snowden book called Permanent Record.
You told me that book, they were trying to make it so that you couldn't,
there was like I think the United States government was trying to sue so that it wouldn't be published or something.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
But it's out everywhere.
I went to the library last week or the week before, and at our libraries in Washoe County, they have this program called Lucky Day. And it's basically new books that you cannot reserve. There are other books that are the same title, same author and everything that you can reserve. But for some reason, they've decided to also have a couple of extras and they put a little Lucky Day sticker on it. And so if you happen to walk into the library when that book is there, you get to check it out. So it gives you a chance to read newer books without having to be the first to reserve them. So anyway, I walk into the library and I see the same book you just talked about.
Oh.
And I looked at it and I knew nothing about it. But I was like, I have to read this because my husband is going to be so jealous.
I was super jealous. She started reading it and I was getting texts. My buddy Jeff was texting me. He's like, this book, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. You're reading it over there while I'm getting these texts. I'm like, I have to get this book and read it.
Yeah. So I started it first, but I think I'm only halfway through.
The thing that I like the most about this book is the technical accuracy.
Yeah.
So he goes into some... There are a couple things. I really like his storytelling style. And also that he is technically accurate about protocols. He's talking about encryption algorithms, and he really boils it down to approachable terms that I think the general public can understand. Maybe. What do you think?
No, because I think that's why I've stopped. I'm definitely going to pick it up and keep going with it, but it's getting what I would call a little bit dry.
Okay.
I'm like, I want to power through this because it is written really well.
Yeah.
But it's getting a little too computery.
Well, that's...
And I feel like I know, I'm married to a software engineer, and so I know quite a bit about computers. But it reminds me a lot of, I don't know if this is okay to say, but it reminds me a lot of Becoming by Michelle Obama in the way that it's written from birth to now.
Yeah. Autobiography style.
Yeah. And so I think that's why I was able to power through the first half of it, because it was all childhood until he started working at the NSA. And so it wasn't a lot of computer. And so, I just whipped through that really quickly.
Yeah. I think that I also really relate to his story.
I totally, that's scary, but I totally see you a lot in some of the things he says.
Yeah, I feel like he made strong principled decisions, and that he ended up blowing the whistle and exposing something because of his principles. But also he didn't go into working at the NSA with the intention of blowing the whistle and exposing this stuff. He went in,
he wanted to serve his country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In which I proudly served my country in a very similar capacity.
Yeah.
And also have thought and dreamt a lot about going and working for the government to help keep us safe and protected and protect our civil liberties.
And he even admits when he'll reflect back on a decision and be like, I'm not so sure that I would have necessarily done that again. Not the whistleblowing part, but wanting to join the military.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend the book.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, I think it's a good book. Did you ever see the movie, the Snowden movie?
No, I didn't.
No, okay. You should watch it after you read the book.
That was my plan.
Yeah, I'll watch it with you.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I've watched it 5 times. It's fun. It's a fun movie. I don't know. so respect what he did. It took incredible courage.
Have you gotten to that point in the book where he's done it?
No. Well, I mean, I think so. I'm at the point where he is taking the stuff home and encrypting it.
I have not gotten there.
Okay.
I'm at the part where he's in Geneva.
Okay. Yeah. That's a fun part too. But I think
we're also reading this book differently.
We are. I'm listening to the book.
Yeah.
You're going to call that out?
No, I just think that it makes it so that you can do it while doing other things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have a hard time with paper. So my book goal this year is 40 books. And of those, I think 2 of them will be actually like paper books.
What? You read a paper book?
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Oh my gosh.
I read it to the boys.
Part of that book.
Okay, sure.
Okay,
those count. Those totally count.
That is an incredible book goal. And I would just like to share that my book goal is 14 books.
14 is good 14. Too.
We're very, very different. But, I'm at 10, so I'm almost there.
You're going to make your goal. I don't know if I'm going to make mine. I'm at 30 now or 20, 28.
You've got like 60 days left.
I know. That's a lot of books in 60 days. 12 books.
Maybe you got to start including like hop on.
Go, dog, go.
Little blue truck and green eggs and ham.
Mm-hmm. I do. I mean, if we count those, then we're reading well over 100 books a year.
Yeah. So I just want to mention this because of our intro. I don't know if you've experienced this yourself, but there are movies that you've seen a ton as a child and then you don't watch them again maybe ever. But as an adult now, we've kind of been going back and rewatching little kid movies. They're not even necessarily made for little kids. The movie I specifically want to mention is the movie Big. I just watched that yesterday. It was made in 88, so I was 1 when that came out. But first, my mom must have really loved it and watched it a lot when I was little. So I knew the movie as a child, but I wanted to watch it as an adult. And it was really good. I really liked it. But it has Tom Hanks, who is Woody, who says...
Who inspires...
Hey, howdy, hey.
Yeah.
Favorite character. I'm kind of on a...
That is pretty good.
Tom Hanks kick.
Yeah. We also recently... So we're trying to... Share culture from the 90s and the aughts with our kids as they get older.
Yeah.
And so we've gone through and rewatched all the Star Wars, and we watched a couple Harry Potter movies, and we watched some other stuff, but we recently showed them The Mighty Ducks. Oh my gosh, such a feel-good movie.
Yeah.
And so we have watched now The Mighty Ducks and also D2 The Mighty Ducks. And the funniest thing about that whole series is that now there's a thing in our house when someone farts, everyone says, "Go, Berg."
Gross.
It's funny. It's so funny. The boys do it.
Yeah.
It's
tough being the only girl in a house full of boys.
It's so funny. Go, Berg.
Oh, man. Yeah. But it's been fun showing them those movies. Last Christmas, we showed them Santa Claus, which was awesome.
Yeah, we recently also watched Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Such good movies.
So now CJ and I are just like, let's try to remember every single movie we ever loved as a child.
Feel good movies of the 90s.
So we've come up with quite a few. Oh, Angels in the Outfield.
Oh my gosh.
That was such a huge hit.
Yeah.
The boys loved it.
I think the boys, we must have watched something scary with them, and so they were always like really tentative. But now that we've been watching these feel-good movies, like multiple in a row, and they're not scared, they are getting super into it. Like for Angels in the Outfield, we like did the wing flapping thing with them, and they just like laughing so hard. And,
it was good. So that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, so if you have kids who are, starting to be able to watch maybe PG movies, 6 years old, 7, 8, 9. One thing that we have found to be really fun is go back and watch those old movies. I think it's part of the most exciting part for me. Not really exciting, but the most fulfilling part of watching those old movies is seeing their reaction.
Yeah.
Like watching them experience something for the first time that you may have, like you watched Big probably, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, whatever times when you were growing up. And I probably watched Mighty Ducks that many times. And so seeing them laugh at the jokes for the first time and do stuff like that, it's just like, oh my gosh, that's such a fun thing as a parent.
totally is. To be clear, though, the kids did not watch Big with me.
No.
They're not ready for that yet. But yeah, just even, I don't know, watching them myself, like, I just feel so happy. I'm like, oh, this is such a good movie.
Yeah.
They don't make them like they used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that has been really nice.
Yeah. All right, let's call it. That's a wrap. All right, friends.
See?
Yeah, I do
told
say.
you.
They are my friends.
I know, but even at work, when you're like,
Hi, friends.
when you wrap up a meeting with all.
When I end a meeting, a work meeting, I say bye, friends.
Yes.
I do?
Yes.
Everyone's my friend.
You do. I mean, it's sweet.
Or my homie. I have gotten Logan, the official term he uses for his friends at school is now homie. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, my homie Joe, I saw him at the park. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you have any parting thoughts?
Nope.
No? Mm-mm. All right. Well, we will see you next Monday. Again, if you... okay, we realize that every time we end an episode, we say, tell us what you think. But we don't have any way for you to reach out to us. Let me see. I thought Okay. Reach out to us on Twitter at Avilla.
Twitter?
Yeah, at Avilla Theory. No?
Wow.
What do you think?
I think that's great. I'm not on Twitter.
You're not on Twitter?
I have a Twitter account.
All right. Okay, our goal between now and the next episode is going to be to figure out a way that you can talk to us.
Actually talk to
you
us.
can reach out to us.
Yes.
We might have an email account. We might have a Twitter account.
Yeah.
If you can figure out how to talk to us
we will mention you next week.
Yes, you'll get a call out, shout out. All right. Okay. I'm done. Love yourself and spread love around.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye.